Tonight, we're diving into 4 real-life stories so unsettling, they'll make you question what's lurking just out of sight. A hiker hunted by an unseen force, a man who swore he was cursed, a woman whose body poisoned an entire hospital, and a family erased by the Oklahoma wilderness. These aren't campfire tales, they happened. And they're still unsolved. Buckle up for this true horror. Subscribe and hit the bell, because you won't want to miss what's coming. What's worse than being lost in the wilderness? Sometimes, the scariest part of a mystery isn't what happens. It's what someone knows is about to happen, right before it does. In 1989, 22-year-old Eloise Lindsay vanished on a solo hike along the Appalachian Trail. She was prepared, experienced, and fearless. But 3 days later, she stumbled out of the woods, starving, dehydrated, clothes in tatters, her eyes wide with terror. She told rescuers she was being hunted. Hours later, safe in a hospital bed, Eloise was dead. What was chasing her, and why does it still haunt the Appalachian Trail? Stick around, because this story will make you rethink hiking alone. Eloise Lindsay was a free spirit from Asheville, North Carolina. A nature lover, she grew up hiking the Blue Ridge Mountains, her backpack always ready, her maps meticulously marked. By 22, she was the friend everyone trusted to lead a trek. She checked weather reports twice, packed extra food, and always carried a first aid kit. In October 1989, with the leaves burning red and gold, Eloise planned a simple 3-day solo hike on a quiet stretch of the Appalachian Trail. She left a note for her roommate, back by Monday. Don't worry. The air was crisp, the trails nearly empty. Eloise was in her element. But Monday came, and Eloise didn't. What happened in those 3 days? When search teams found Eloise's abandoned campsite, they recovered her small leather journal, its pages stained with dirt and sweat. The journal read, Day 1, the stars are brighter than I've ever seen. The forest is so quiet, it's perfect. Day 2, heard crackling in the bush last night. Thought I saw a man in the tree line. Probably just a deer, right? Night 2, woke up twice. Footsteps circling my tent. I yelled, but no one answered. I don't feel alone anymore. By day 3, her handwriting was frantic, barely legible. He's still behind me. I can hear him. I'm running. Investigators found her backpack abandoned, still packed with food and a water purifier, her lifelines. Why would she leave them behind? Eloise was too scared to stop. Something, or someone, was closing in. What did she see in the woods? A local hunter, John Carver, later told police he spotted a young woman staggering out of the woods on October 15. Her clothes were shredded, her lips cracked from dehydration. She collapsed at his feet, begging for water. She kept looking over her shoulder, muttering, I don't know what it is. It's not stopping. He guided her toward a ranger station, but she collapsed before they reached it. At the hospital, nurses noted Eloise's paranoia. She refused to lie still, asking if the doors were locked, if the windows were sealed. Her final words to the doctor were chilling, if I fall asleep, it'll catch me. Hours later, Eloise's heart stopped. Cause of death, sudden cardiac arrest. No explanation. Investigators scoured the trail. They found no other footprints, no signs of a struggle, only Eloise's. But locals whispered about the area. Hunters claimed they felt watched. Some swore they heard footsteps that stopped when they turned around. One refused to hunt there again, saying, that place feels wrong. Theories multiplied, a human predator who left no trace? A psychotic break triggered by isolation? Or something older, tied to Appalachian folklore, the Shadow Man, a figure said to stalk hikers, never revealing itself until it's too late. Is the Shadow Man real? Eloise Lindsay didn't die alone in the woods. She died in a hospital, surrounded by people, supposedly safe. Yet she swore something was still coming for her. So what did Eloise see in those final moments, that no one else could? Would you hike the Appalachian Trail alone? Subscribe as we journey on a man's story who believed he was cursed to death. If you're already uneasy, brace yourself for what's next. Can a curse kill you, even if you don't believe? In 1991, 29-year-old Christopher Case called his friends in a panic, claiming he was cursed. They laughed. Days later, he was dead, surrounded by crucifixes, salt, and prayers scrawled on his walls. What was he so afraid of? Christopher was a rising star in Seattle's music scene, smart, rational, skeptical of the paranormal. But in April 1991, on a business trip, he met a woman at a networking event. She was charming, intense, and took an immediate interest in him. When Christopher politely declined her advances, her smile vanished. She whispered, "You'll regret this." He brushed it off, until he returned home. What did she do to him? Christopher began hearing whispers in his apartment, waking with unexplained scratches. He stopped sleeping, filling his home with crucifixes, salt lines, and Christian hymns on repeat. He called friends, frantic, "She cursed me. It's real." One call ended with, "If I don't make it, remember I tried to fight." Neighbors heard chanting, faint music, even a scream. Was he losing his mind, or fighting for his life? On April 17, a welfare check revealed a fortress of paranoia, crucifixes everywhere, salt across doorways, prayers on scraps of paper. In the bathroom, Christopher lay dead in an empty bathtub, fully clothed. He was 29. The autopsy found no drugs, no trauma, sudden heart failure. Doctors blamed stress, but friends said he was terrified beyond reason. Was it a breakdown, a curse, or something else? The woman was never found. Sometimes, a curse doesn't care if you believe. It believes in you. Next, we look at a woman whose body became a weapon. The next story will make your skin crawl. On February 19, 1994, Gloria Ramirez was rushed to a California hospital, struggling to breathe. But as doctors tried to save her, they recoiled in horror. Her skin glistened with an oily sheen. Her breath smelled like ammonia. And within minutes, nurses started collapsing. The ER was evacuated. Gloria died that night. What was inside her body, and why is it still a mystery? Gloria Ramirez was a 23-year-old mother of two, known for her warmth and resilience. Despite battling late-stage cervical cancer, she remained a light in her community, always smiling through the pain. On February 19, 1994, her condition worsened. She grew weak, her breathing shallow. Her family rushed her to Riverside General Hospital, expecting complications from her cancer. No one could have predicted what happened next. As doctors worked to stabilize Gloria, they noticed something bizarre. Her skin was coated in an oily, glistening film. Her breath carried a sharp, chemical stench, like ammonia mixed with something unnatural. When a nurse drew blood, the syringe filled with a strange, ammonia-like odor. Another nurse swore she saw tiny particles floating in the vial, glinting under the fluorescent lights. Then, the unthinkable happened. One by one, staff members began to faint, gasping for air, their limbs trembling. What was coming from her body? Doctors scrambled to evacuate the ER, dragging Gloria's gurney into an isolation room. Nurses were carried out, some unconscious, others struggling to breathe. Gloria, barely conscious, looked up at a nurse and whispered, "Please, don't let me die." At 8:50 p.m., her heart stopped. She was gone. But the mystery was just beginning. What poisoned the ER? Over 20 staff members were hospitalized after exposure to Gloria. Some suffered long-term symptoms, nausea, fatigue, even neurological issues. Investigators were stumped. Theories ranged from a chemical self-treatment gone wrong, perhaps Gloria had used an unapproved cancer remedy, to a bizarre reaction from her medications. Some even suggested an unknown pathogen or a government cover-up. But no single explanation held up. The oily sheen, the ammonia smell, the floating particles, none of it made sense. Gloria Ramirez became known as the Toxic Woman, her death a chilling enigma. Was it a chemical fluke? A hidden condition? Or something science still can't explain? One thing is certain, whatever Gloria carried inside her, was powerful enough to poison an entire room. The final story is the most haunting yet. What could make a family abandon everything, and vanish into thin air? In 2009, the Jamison family, Bobby, Sherilyn, and their 4-year-old daughter Madison, drove into the remote Oklahoma wilderness, chasing a dream of off-grid living. But when they never returned, searchers found their truck empty. No sign of struggle. No bodies. Just eerie clues hinting at paranoia and something sinister watching from the trees. 4 years later, their skeletal remains turned up miles away. But why did they leave the truck? And what drove them to their deaths? This is a mystery that feels too real to be fiction. Stick around, if you dare to hear what the woods are hiding. The Jamisons were an ordinary American family from Eufaula, Oklahoma. Bobby, 44, was a tough, self-made construction worker with a passion for horses and a dream of escaping the rat race. Sherilyn, 40, was his devoted wife, a former bank teller turned homemaker, fiercely protective of their only child, 4-year-old Madison, sweet, blonde, and full of giggles. But beneath the surface, the Jamisons were unraveling. Bobby had battled drug addiction in his youth, and whispers from neighbors suggested Sherilyn struggled with mental health issues, possibly bipolar disorder. They attended a local church but dabbled in New Age spirituality, crystals, visions, and talk of energy fields. In October 2009, they decided to buy 40 acres of remote land near Red Oak, Oklahoma, a rugged, forested paradise for their off-grid ranch. On October 8, they loaded $32,000 in cash into their white pickup truck, along with Madison's toys, their dog Maisie, and bags of clothes. Surveillance video from their bank caught them, Bobby stern-faced, Sherilyn wide-eyed and animated, little Madison waving at the camera. They were chasing freedom. But the woods had other plans. What do you think happened after they left town? The Jamisons never made it to the property. On October 16, 8 days after leaving, a real estate agent found their truck parked on Latimer County Road 452, a desolate dirt path deep in the Eufaula Lake Wildlife Management Area. The keys were in the ignition, the cash still in a bank bag on the front seat, Maisie's lifeless body curled in the back. No fingerprints but the family's. No signs of violence. The truck's tank was full, pointed back towards civilization, as if they'd parked and walked away willingly. Sheriff Tony Rogers led the search, helicopters, dogs, volunteers combing 4,000 acres. They found nothing. But chilling clues emerged from the family's home. Sherilyn's diaries revealed growing paranoia. I see things in the trees. They're watching us. We have to get away before they come. Entries mentioned demons and government spies. Bobby had texted a friend days before, "We're being followed. Don't trust anyone." One photo from the truck showed Madison smiling in a field, but behind her, blurry shapes in the woods that looked like hooded figures. Was it pareidolia, or something more? Locals whispered of mountain men, reclusive hermits, rumored meth labs, even Bigfoot sightings in the area. The Jamisons had bought a gun just weeks prior, but it was left behind. Were they fleeing real danger, or ghosts of their own making? The search dragged on for months. Bloodhounds traced a faint scent from the truck, leading 3 miles into the wilderness, then vanishing at a creek bed. Divers scoured Eufaula Lake, fearing they'd drowned. Nothing. Conspiracy theories exploded: human trafficking, a cult, or worse, sacrifice to the land's dark history. The area was once Cherokee territory, laced with Native American legends of spirits that lure wanderers astray. One searcher quit after hearing children's laughter at night, with no kids around. The Jamisons' families were torn. Bobby's sister Connie said they were scared of something big. Sherilyn saw shadows that moved wrong. Madison's toys were found scattered near the truck, as if she'd been playing moments before. By spring 2010, the case went cold. The truck sat in impound, a ghostly relic. A family of 3, swallowed by silence. But the woods keep secrets, until they don't. In November 2013, 4 years later, mushroom hunters stumbled on a horrific scene: 3 mummified skeletons, scattered along a creek bank just 3 miles from the truck. DNA confirmed Bobby, face down with a bullet wound to the head, the gun never found, Sherilyn nearby, clutching a wad of cash, Madison between them, as if placed there protectively. Cause of death? Undetermined. The remote location preserved them like a macabre time capsule. No animals had touched the remains. Autopsies showed no drugs, no trauma except Bobby's wound. Starvation? Exposure? Or murder? Theories resurfaced: suicide pact amid paranoia. Foul play by locals. One psychic claimed dark entities in the woods. The medical examiner noted Sherilyn's possible mental illness, but no answers. The case remains open, files gathering dust in Latimer County. They walked into the woods alive, and stayed there forever. The Jamison family didn't just disappear, they were erased, leaving behind a truck full of dreams and a forest full of questions. What took the Jamisons?